Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us here at 11 o'clock. I'm Marion Brooks. Alex is off this morning, and we begin at 11 with the storms that are hitting our area right now. So this is the second wave, and it's just started. You can see it's kind of wet out there. Hard to see just how much is coming down, but you did probably notice the first round of storms that came in this morning just in time for the commute, knocking down trees, power lines, damaged cars here in Chicago. We do have complete storm team coverage for you this morning. We're going to start off with meteorologist Pete Sack. It's been a busy morning for you, Pete.
Yes, it has. A lot of rain has already fallen across the area. Some locations picking up more than an inch, and more is on the way. Here's wave 2. You can see on live Doppler 5 here. Heavier rains south and west of the city, and you can see there are some lightning strikes associated with this as well. A little bit lighter rain in the northern suburbs, but that heavier rain is on the way. Here's a time lapse of the last 3 hours. And you can see just a little bit of a lull here, and then here comes the next wave. And as we zoom this out, switch it over to pinpoint radar, you can see that line of rain extends all the way into Missouri and points southward. And yeah, there's some areas of red there where there's a tornado watch in effect, and you can see a couple of warning boxes popping along the way as well. So here's what your afternoon is going to look like. We see these waves of rain, and especially as we get into the early afternoon hours, here's where I think our potential is of seeing some severe weather before it finally clears out later on this evening. So we are looking at the prospect of some of these storms turning severe, and here's what we're looking at as far as the Storm Prediction Center today. We are in the enhanced risk category. That's level 3 out of 5. Damaging winds, large hail, isolated tornadoes, all possible. We're also looking at the potential for heavy rainfall. So we'll time this all out for you, but we got to tell you what's going on the roadways right now, because again, we're getting ready for round 2. Round 1 was pretty rough, I can tell you that. Kai Martin has more.
We're at the Lake Forest Oasis along I-94, and as you mentioned, it's a very light rain or even just a slight drizzle up here in Lake County right now, but it's the wind that's the issue. It's making it very chilly up here, and when rain does come in those waves, it's really blowing that wind sideways up here. So the midday commute, what we've found in checking on all our traffic sources is that it is dicey right now in several suburbs. So let's take you down to a different live source here and check on in with our Storm Chaser 5, which is down on I-80 in the Homewood area. And our photojournalist Marty Nutley is driving around down there, and he's finding that heavy rain and those gray skies. So earlier this morning, especially during the morning commute, I-80 had so many issues. There was a big crash westbound 80 at Briggs with a load of cement spilled there. That was down there in the Will County Joliet area. Eastbound I-80 around Minooka, a crash has just cleared there in the last 10 minutes. So I-80, that big trucking corridor, so many slow spots. There are slow drive times all across the city. I spoke with one of my friends on DuSable Lakeshore Drive. She had a 2-hour commute from the northern suburbs trying to get into Lincoln Park, ponding on the inbound Ford at the Dan Ryan Merge and ponding at Hubbard's Cave. As far as the rails, Marion, a little bit better there. Metro Electric South Shore line back on track into Millennium Station after some minor problems. But check this out. Trying to get away out of O'Hare, 150 cancellations there. It started this morning and it just snowballed. 30 cancellations at Midway, and at O'Hare, the average delay for your flight, an hour and 20 minutes. So I hope you got your Mexico trip in last week. We're live here in Lake Forest. I'm Kai Martin. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, it's a tough day to be flying, no doubt about that. Thanks so much, Kai, for that update. And now, folks, is a really great time to make sure you have push notifications turned on the NBC Chicago app, which we hope you've already downloaded. It is free. Those push notifications are the way you'll get the latest weather alerts sent right to your phone. All the information you need to try to keep yourself safe as well. So we're continuing to follow the storms that are hitting the Chicago area right now. This is a live look for you at Storm Chaser 5, and it doesn't look good out there. I understand this is I-80 near Hammond. It's really coming down. Don't know if they have any lightning or exactly what the circumstance is, Pete. So we're going to check in with Pete in just a bit to find out exactly what they can expect. What are they looking at right now in that area, Pete?
They're looking at some heavy rain and some lightning. Thunderstorms moving through. We'll show you that in a moment. First, let's take a look at the temperatures. You can see readings in the low 40s, 41 in Waukegan to upper 40s in Kankakee. It's going to take a little while, but warmer air pushing its way toward us. Here's a look at live Doppler 5. And as you can see, There's Hammond right about there, and there is some heavy rain coming down, and there has been some lightning associated with these storms as well. Here's the last 3 hours, and as you can see, after a brief break, here comes the next round of rain moving its way on in, and it will be heavy at times, and as we zoom this out, you can see there's more rain down to the south, so we still have several hours of rain to go here. Here's a look into the afternoon. Notice here at 2 o'clock, we're starting to see these storm cells break up a little bit. And when they become a little bit more isolated, there's the better chance for severe weather popping its way on in. So you can see one cell in particular, and this is there where we're really keeping an eye on things. South of the city and into northwest Indiana into the early afternoon hours, that will clear its way on out. We're going to be looking at temperatures topping out in the upper 60s rather to around 70 eventually, although that warm air won't make it all the way up to Waukegan. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has slid things down just a little bit. This is a little different from what I showed you about 20 minutes ago. Here's the slight risk category. And the enhanced risk, the level 3, has now pushed its way on southward. Still looking at the prospect of damaging winds, large hail. Cannot still rule out the possibility of an isolated tornado with heavy rainfall possible. And then, as you can see, we'll clear the rain out through the overnight time frame, and by tomorrow morning, you can see the clouds moving their way on out as well. We'll drop down to temperatures in the low to mid 40s across the area, but we'll continue to monitor this, Marion, because we do have, again, a changing, evolving situation with our weather.
Okay, I know you do, Pete. Thanks so much. The heavy rain has triggered an overflow action day here in Chicago to prevent flooding, so that means officials want people to consider delaying showers or baths, flushing toilets less frequently, and take this excuse to not do the laundry or dishes because it's best to avoid using your washing machine or dishwasher. They take up a lot of water. We're also expecting some big delays all day at Chicago's airports because of the weather. So at last check, O'Hare was seeing an average of an hour and 20-minute delay. They've already had 150 cancellations. Midway is pretty much running on time, but they still have dozens of cancellations as well. As always, check with your airline before you head out to the airport. Also, an update baseball fans need to know about. The White Sox say today's game is likely going to be delayed. The team says they're going to provide an update for us closer to game time. Meanwhile, the stormy weather has already caused some damage in the Chicago area. NBC5's Sandra Torres is live in Storm Chaser 5 tracking the conditions for us. Sandra.
Hey there, Marion. Right now we are on Lakeshore Drive. We just passed Lincoln Park Zoo. We're just approaching the Michigan Avenue exit, and I can tell you that it was drizzling just a few minutes ago. Now it's heavy rain once again. If you take a look out to through our dash cam, you can actually see what we're dealing with right now. Low visibility, certainly some brake lights here as we approach Michigan Avenue. Big raindrops on our windshield, and you know there's really some ponding on the roadways as well, especially on the outer lanes. So that's something that drivers are keeping an eye out on, slowing it down as they approach, especially this curve right here. Now this morning there were similar conditions. You know, there was some damage due to the heavy rain and also the gusty winds that we experienced here in the city. Here's a look at some of that damage, especially on the north side. This is in the Edgewater neighborhood on West Hood Avenue and North Greenview Avenue. Strong winds likely to blame for a tree breaking in half, sending large branches on top of a minivan, causing some damage there. Not too far from that location on Granville and Greenview, there was some flooding on side streets as well, making it difficult for vehicles to get through, and of course tree debris on those side streets not making anything easier, causing some issues there as people try to drive through. Back here live though on Lakeshore Drive, once again we're approaching some bright lights here in the downtown area. As we drive in this area, we have noticed that there's definitely more ponding right here on the outer lanes. People are slowing down. It's very important to take it easy as you drive through Lakeshore Drive, because that ponding could be really dangerous if you're going at a high rate of speed. So that's the latest really along Lakeshore Drive, along the lakefront. Steady rain, and it's going to stick around for the most part of the afternoon. So I'll send it back to you, Miriam.
All right, thanks so much, Sandra. Stay safe out there. And of course, you can get the latest weather information all day long, no matter where you are. Just download the NBC Chicago app, and don't forget to turn on the push notifications.